This month's meeting will now come to order. If you haven't pressed your attend button, please do so at this time. And if we can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask, as long as we're all standing, to have a moment of silence for our chairman and his family. He lost his sister this week. The wake is this evening. So if we can, please think of him and his family. Thank you. If we can now proceed, Supervisor Locke.
We seek your help with decisions tonight. Bless this meeting with your divine intelligence and help us to make the best use of our own. Thank you for being our source of guidance. Amen.
Supervisor Robel.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I'll move for the approval of this evening's agenda.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Now is the time for anyone from the public to speak on anything on the agenda. You may do so at this time. Anyone from the public care to speak? Anyone from the public? Last chance. Thank you. We will proceed to the clerk's announcements.
Thank you. You received a thank you card from Zachary Poirier, Winnebago County Board of Supervisors. Oops. Thank you for the scholarship. I'm proud to represent Winnebago County at UW La Crosse. Thank you, Zachary Poirier. I put a letter on your desk tonight. We received a number of resolutions from other counties, but instead of reading each one individually, I thought I'd just give you the list. And then I did give a copy to the chair of the Judiciary Committee. And because there's not a legislative committee chair yet, I also gave that to Supervisor Wingren as the secretary of that committee. We have petition zoning amendment. The first one comes from the town of Black Wolf. Roger Zentner, the town of Black Wolf, requesting a zoning change from R1 to A2 for agricultural use, referred to planning and zoning. A petition from Peter Donner from the town of Neenah, requesting a zoning change from B3 to I2 for scrap recycling and auto salvage, referred to planning and zoning. A petition for zoning amendment from Carrie Rowe, the zoning administrator, on behalf of David Jeffers, the town of Utica, requesting a zoning change from A2 to A1 for agricultural purposes. Petition for zoning amendment from Carrie Rowe, zoning administrator, on behalf of the town of Utica for Kevin and Brenda Kasabuski, requesting a zoning change from A2 to A1 for agricultural purposes. Petition for zoning amendment from Carrie Rowe, zoning administrator, on behalf of the town of Utica, for the town of Utica, for Arnold and Dorothy Batke Living Trust et al., requesting a zoning change from A2 to A1 for agricultural purposes. That's also referred to planning and zoning. Petition for zoning amendment from Carrie Rowe, zoning administrator, for the town of Utica, property owner Gary Carl Lund, requesting a zoning change from A2 to A1 for agricultural purposes, referred to planning and zoning. Petition for zoning amendment from Carrie Rowe, zoning administrator, for the town of Utica, property owner Darrell D. Cumbier Jr., requesting a zoning change from A2 to A1 for agricultural purposes, referred to planning and zoning. Petition for zoning amendment, Carrie Rowe, zoning administrator, the town of Utica, for the property owner Marvin E. Ulrich, requesting a zoning change from A2 to A1 for agricultural purposes, referred to planning and zoning. Petition for zoning amendment from Carrie Rowe, zoning administrator, from the town of Utica, for property owners Thomas and Ellen Lloyd, requesting a zoning change from A2 to A1 for agricultural purposes. We have a number of notices of claims this evening. The first one's received from Ronald Holcomb for damage to his Pantech ATT phone while he was an inmate at the county jail. It's referred to the Personnel and Finance Committee. A notice of claim from Rick Sterling for damage to his vehicle's tire while he was at the landfill, referred to Personnel and Finance. A notice of claim from Patricia Hetland for damage to her vehicle's tire on Highway 41, referred to Personnel and Finance. And a petition, a notice of claim from Robert Losey for lost glass nose pieces when he was in the county jail, also referred to Personnel and Finance. That's all.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any reports from committees, commissions, or boards? Supervisor Finch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a couple of things. Last week I was at a WCA Tax and Finance committee meeting, and a couple of things were brought up that disturbed me a little bit. There's to be a new steering committee out to do with personal property taxes. And what they plan on maybe doing is lowering the property tax for businesses. And as we all know, if they take taxes away from one place, somebody else has got to pick it up. I think everybody in this room knows who somebody else is going to be. So anyway, the other thing that disturbs me is that they're all representatives or senators. There's no people from the public on this specialized personal tax. So I just want to make you aware of it, because if it does come out and does get a little touchy, at least you'll know that we have all been warned that our property taxes may go up to supplement the business taxes. That's one. Another thing is Washington County plans on having a 4-year county board supervisor term instead of a 2-year. They've been going through a lot of not really knowing what's going on, and then they got to go up for re-election. And if they get beat, then there's somebody else that's got to learn what's going on. So they're going to be putting in, and it'll come before the WCA, a 4-year term, and it'll be optional for the county to either go a staggered term, which makes sense, or just stay with a 4-year term. That's that part. The other thing is the county parks been having a committee that's been looking at dog parks on the northern end of the county, and it's beginning to take a little shape. In fact, next month you'll see this short committee come in here and present what findings they found for a dog park on the northern end of the county and why. And at the same time, you will be seeing a resolution on the floor for the county board to support a dog park on the northern end. And the reason the resolution is there for is I've taken liberty to talk to an individual who's pretty prestigious, and I told him that I'm good at picking up $50, $100, whatever, you know, but to go for big money, I don't know how to do it. And after we talked for close to 20 minutes, half hour, he said, well, Jerry, he says, I tell you what you do. You and Ken. Ken was with me. He says, if you can get county board approval, some money in the budget for it, and a little advertisement from the Post-Crescent or something, you come back and see me. Which tells me that if this all happened, we could probably get a very good chunk of money to support the park. So you'll see that next month. Thank you.
Supervisor Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple things. As far as the Planning and Zoning Committee, they've taken shape now here again, and their meetings are still held at 7:30 in the morning, but instead of, like we used to have at least 4 meetings a month, now lots of times we're down to 3. We've gone ahead with our deliberative meeting, and our regular meeting are put together as one rather than having a very short meeting. So we've gone ahead and strived to go ahead and help out the county board, save some money on that way. So And my second thing is, it's that time of year again for the fair is coming up, August 5th through the 10th. Spirit and Pride countywide is our logo this year, and we hopefully everyone will come. And I've gotten in the past when we've sent out these letters, well, we can't accept these letters because they're gifts. These are not gifts. This board has put in $50,000 a year, and I think maybe that's a problem that we don't go and see where we put this money in. I think when you get these letters, you can come any day you want with a gift, look around, see where your money has gone, and really appreciate not only the fair, but appreciate what's been done with that $50,000. Thank you.
Supervisor Ellis.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I got two things tonight that I just wanted to bring your attention that was in our packet tonight. One is the newsletter, really done really nice, and there's quite a few points in there that you should all probably read. The second thing is the annual satisfaction survey that comes out of Parkview Health Center. It's quite interesting just to look at some of the bullet points, and all the way down, it's very satisfactory to see how many take the survey and how many are sending them back. It's just take a few minutes and look at that. It's very interesting. Thank you.
Supervisor Haig.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. There was a rescheduled Wisconsin Department of Transportation meeting which will take place tomorrow from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at the Town of Menasha Community Center at 1000 Valley Road in Menasha. And this will be the third of 3 meetings for elected representatives in regards to community-sensitive design issues from kind of that Appleton area through the Town of Menasha on the east side of town. So if anybody wants to participate in that, it is the third and the final meeting, and we know how the DOT operates. So if you have any input, please get there and input your input. Thank you.
Supervisor Warnke.
At our meeting for the Veterans Commission, it was brought up that we would like a small report made to the county board concerning the VA care. And there is a short letter on your desk tonight, and it talks about the almost 3,500 patients from Winnebago County who are under VA care. And it talks about the money that's spent in Wisconsin. So I would call your attention to that, and I hope you would read it. Thank you.
Supervisor Eisen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I'd like to make a further comment on Supervisor Haig's communication. I believe that I had received a notice from the State Highway Agency that meeting was canceled and that it's being held right now on Tuesday, the 22nd.
I would at this time entertain a motion to approve the proceedings from our June 17th meeting. Any changes, corrections, additions, deletions? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. County Executive at this time.
I've got three resolutions that I'd like to bring to the board's attention. On a day as warm as this, it's hard to remember how cold and blustery last winter was. But UW Fox Valley is requesting additional money to cover for the increase in the number of snow incidents above the norm that required more expenditures. Their costs are really driven not by the total volume of snow, but by the number of incidences that require them to have people come in and plow their lots. And as has been the custom of the board, we like people to ask for the additional funds they need before the end of the budget year. And these are the funds they feel they'll need to carry them through this year, including, of course, the snows we might get in November and December. Also, there's Resolution 62 involving the nurse call system. None of us are happy that the system that we have currently is no longer being supported. But as parts for the old system in the secondary market become more scarce and harder to obtain, it's going to cost us more money, and you really can't afford to have a nurse call system that doesn't work for every bed, because that's part of our responsibility to be able to respond to people who are not ambulatory. And when you get to this item, I hope you'll ask the Parkview Health Director some questions, because I think there is some confused information regarding this issue. The last item I want to draw to your attention is the Industrial Development Board loan to the Village of Winnebago. That's for the benefit of Shell Better Properties. They're a growing business providing a lot of additional jobs, and these type of loans are a win-win situation for us. The county loans the money at a higher rate than our return on our money market accounts, so we get more of a return. The risk is actually taken by the Village of Winnebago, that effectively is taking the loan and then passing it on to the business, and the capital going to the business helps them expand and add jobs and tax base in the community. So it really is a good situation all the way around, and the growth of this company has been very strong and something that we should really be grateful for. And that's what I have on the agenda items. I have a number of appointments. I'd like to appoint Sue Drexler to the Board of Adjustments.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's passed.
On the Board of Health, there's several appointments, and the citizen appointments, it's still unclear which members want to be returned to the board, but all of the county board members wish to be returned, so I'm reappointing that portion of the Board of Health tonight. So that's Shayla Ramos, Tom Ellis, Tom Egan, Mike Norton, and Rachel Youngquist.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
My appointment to East Central Regional Planning Commission is Robert Schmeckel, who's the chairman of the town of Neenah.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
I have an appointment to Oshkosh Public Library Board, and that's Bill Wingren.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
I would just like to note that Supervisors Snyder and Keel have asked to be excused this evening. And then the chairman has an appointment, East Central International Trade, Business, and Economic Development Council. He is appointing Wendy Heilsberg, Executive Director of the Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau. Pardon me? Heilsberg. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. We now have a presentation by Mike Elder, the Facilities Director, on the Knapp Street Maintenance Facility Asphalt Replacement Program.
Good evening. Tonight I'm coming before to present to you for the first time another paving project that we have. And this is part of a long-term program that I'm trying to get going, that we take a look at all of our asphalt and repair it in a timely manner. This parking lot was built in 1969, according to the records that the Highways Department came up with. In, I think, 2011, they did a survey of all the paved areas for the county properties. It's called a PACER rating, and this parking lot came up as a 1, and they're rated from 1 to 10, with 10 being the best. So this is, in effect, the worst paved area that we have in the county at this time. The scope of this project, you can kind of see on a picture with the packet that you've got. There's our parking area. There's an access road to the an impound area for the sheriff's department towards the back of the property. And then there's approach aprons to these 2 salt sheds that we lease to the city and 2 outbuildings. This project, unlike other paving projects, what we're looking at trying to do is remove probably about 1/3 of the paved area. So this should help us with our stormwater costs that we have every year that we're paying for the property. The plan is for this parking lot to come back and be repaved as an asphalt parking lot. We'll have to incorporate some storm drains for it because when the site was built back in the 60s, there was no storm sewer out towards the Knapp Street area. Current requirements are for us to prevent the water from draining off the parking lot into the streets, so we'll have to have catch basins. We will also have to meet the city's requirements for setback and screening along Osborne. So this will be, like I said, probably the first big project that we've got for our asphalt replacement program for the next few years.
Are there any questions or comments? Thank you, Mike. Next, we have a number of zoning reports and ordinances. Supervisor Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I move for the adoption of report number 1.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
I move for the adoption of mandatory ordinance number 1.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Carried.
I move for the adoption of report number 2.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Carried.
I move for the adoption of mandatory ordinance number 2.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Carried.
I move for the mandatory ordinance number 3. That should go to you. That should go to Supervisor Fari.
Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for a mandatory ordinance number 3 on behalf of Markey Litke, Town of Clayton.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 1 abstention.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move for a mandatory ordinance number 4. This is for Ken Tritt, Town of Clayton.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Carried. Moving on to resolution number 5572-014, disallow claim of Hausman McNally, attorneys of law, for Linda Pitts. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Move for approval of resolution number 55-7-2014.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 5672-014, authorize a temporary limited easement to the Wisconsin Department of Transportation on a .007 acre parcel of county-owned land, and authorize the appropriate county official to sign the easement documents. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I'll move for approval of resolution 56-72014.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 57-72014, approve a public participation plan of Emergency Management Department. Supervisor Eisen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I move for approval of resolution number 57-72014.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 57-72014, approve a public participation plan of Emergency Management Department.
Point of order.
Yes, Mr. Eisen.
There is resolution 58-72014, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Can we do 57 first?
57 was just completed and voted
I'm sorry.
affirmatively.
I'm sorry.
Next in order is 58, please.
Resolution 58-72014, appropriate $14,168 to the Emergency Management Department Professional Services Fund. Supervisor Eisen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Move for approval of resolution number 58-72014.
Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In reading this, I guess my question was, this grant is going to be to educate, obviously, the municipalities within our county. Am I correct? And if that's the case, are we talking incorporated, unincorporated, or both? Or can somebody give me a little detail on that?
Supervisor Eisen.
Yes, we have the Deputy Director for Emergency Management, Bernie.
Is there a, can you hear me?
You're on.
Those funds, that's the 75%. We'll start at the beginning. This particular plan, it's the Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan. It's been in effect since 2005, before my time. It has to be updated every 5 years, and we're at that point now for the second update of this plan. That money is a grant that we applied for. I applied for back in August of last year. We received the grant, and that grant will pay for the consultant that we've hired to update this plan for this 5-year cycle. That's the 75% portion. We have a 25% match.
Are you going to be meeting with all municipalities in the
Yes,
county?
this is an all-county plan. We're meeting with everyone, and actually the resolution just before this is actually more of a declaration that we're going to do that. The public participation portion is with the local governments as well as the general public. We have a minimum requirement to meet with the public, but we want to go above and beyond that, and that's the reason for that resolution. Mm-hmm.
Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. If you note, the committee vote for personnel finance is blank. We did meet this evening, and that was passed 4-0.
Thank you. We will vote using our electronic device. That resolution passes. Resolution 59-72014, authorize the General Services Department to enter into a 5-year lease agreement with Gordon Flesch Company for dual-purpose copy, faxing, scanning machines. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. Move for approval of resolution number 59-7-2014, and I'd like to add that also we passed that 4-0 at committee this evening.
Thank you. Supervisor Eisen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Could you share with us how many of these machines are going to be leased? It's a lot of money.
Okay. It's a total of 117 machines, various sizes from small desktops to very large production units for our General Services Department. So there's 117 total.
This will be located throughout the departments for the county.
The department. They're just replacing the machines that are currently there. Our lease is up at the end of August.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 60-72014, approve the addition of $50,000 to the UW Fox Valley's 2014 budget snow plowing account to cover overages due to severe weather in 2014 and the addition of a parking lot with the purchase of the engineering building. Supervisor Widener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for the approval of a resolution 6072014. I would like to make a comment, if I may.
You certainly may.
The executive pretty much covered this, and I think it's fairly well defined within the resolution itself. I would like to toss one thing out, though, for those that are new, and as a review for those that have forgotten. Basically, Winnebago County and Allegheny County own the facilities at UW Fox Valley. And as such, in owning those facilities, we are responsible to maintain those, which include the snow removal, which is put in this particular resolution. Pardon me. Are there any questions?
Supervisor Haig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman. And I'm glad, Mr. Widener, that you pointed out that not only is this excess amount due to the severe winter, but also the addition of the parking lot with the purchase, and now the fully functioning engineering building. I suppose that we had to plow that portion of the parking lot for the engineering building the last couple of years, though, too, didn't we?
That is correct.
What did we have to add to the past couple of years' budgets for plowing with that addition?
The answer to that is yes. We ran over the budget for the snow removal for the last couple of years. We were able to absorb it in 2012 in our budget, and in 2013 we had actually added monies to the budget to allow for that.
So are we going to be adding more to this coming budget for 2015 for plowing of the engineering?
Yeah, in all probability, that's correct.
Thank you.
Supervisor Warnke.
I'd like to know how much you were over on your budget.
At the present time, we're over $27,000 this year, and almost $28,000, of which half of that is out of Gamey County. So for Winnebago County, we're over about approximately $14,000. Our estimate is it will be about another $22,000 or $11,000 for each of the counties for the rest of the year. And as mentioned by the executive, basically we took a look at what our experience has been in November and December in past years, and that is what we used for our estimate for the $22,000.
Okay.
Supervisor Norton.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Could you explain the one no vote on the UW Fox Valley Board of Trustees?
I'm sorry, Mark, I didn't.
Could you explain the one no vote on the Board of Trustees for this resolution?
Okay, there are 4 people on the Board of Trustees, 2 each from Winnebago County and Allegheny County. Tom Snyder and I are the representatives for the trustees for Winnebago County.
And what was the rationale or reason why the one person voted against it? Do you remember? Do you remember why the person voted against the resolution?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't hear which. The 3-1, the one person that voted against it was from Outagamie County, and basically what Outagamie County did not want to do was to authorize money ahead of time. They want to handle it as they go, and they'll of course end up with a problem at the end of the year because there won't be enough money to be there. But that's why he voted no. Sorry.
Supervisor Olson.
Thank you. I think I know the answer to this, but what of this $50,000? It says Winnebago County Board of Supervisors that 25,050 expenses will be transferred from the general contingency fund. So I am assuming Outagamie County is picking up the other 25,000.
That is correct. Basically, what happens with the system is the bills come in monthly, and the Board of Trustees, which we mentioned before, authorize those particular bills, which are then sent to Winnebago County. Winnebago County pays the bills, and then they bill Outagamie County for the difference.
So that's why we're asking for 50 instead of 25.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Supervisor Haig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to amend the amount of this resolution to the stated amount on line 12, $27,276. Seeing as how we don't know that, what October, November, and December of this year are going to bring yet, and I agree with whoever voted nay in the Board of Trustees from Outagamie County.
Is there a second? Fails for lack of a second. At this time, we will use our electronic devices to vote. That resolution passes. Resolution 61-72014, authorize a transfer of $6,339 from the salary contingency fund to the labor accounts of the Winnebago County Clerk's 2014 budget to cover the extra cost of temporary help due to an employee's lengthy illness. Supervisor Wingren.
Chairman, I move approval of Resolution 62-7-2014. I'm sorry. I move approval of Resolution number 61-7-2014.
Supervisor Eisen.
No.
We will vote using our electronic devices.
has to confirm, sorry to go there.
That resolution passes. Next is resolution number 62-72014, appropriate $262,000 from the Parkview Health Center's fund balance to a project fund to replace the nurse call system. Supervisor Ellis.
Thank you, Vice Chair. For the approval of 62-72014. If there's any questions, Morgan's in the back.
Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman. Let me point out, first, certainly I'm going to support this, but the lack of age of the system does, in my opinion, require some questions. So my first question is, how old is the system that we currently have?
Morgan.
The system was put in Parkview when the new building was built.
And that was?
2008.
Okay,
and
so
then in 2011, we received a letter from the manufacturer that the system had been discontinued when GE bought out the current manufacturer.
So we can say the system is, 6 years old, somewhere in that area?
6 years old, and it was not supported as of October of 2011.
In approving the request for $262,000, what assurances does this board have that the new system we're going to acquire will last longer, hopefully a lot longer, than 6 years?
We can do what we can when we do the request for proposal to have the vendors guarantee, but as with any other technological component, oftentimes vendors won't give that guarantee. So we can do as much as we can to get them to write that into the specs.
So I assume this is a wireless system, obviously?
We are going with hardwired, which is what we currently have, or that would be our desire. The reason for it is it's a steel constructed building, so there are dead zones, and we've seen it with other wireless systems that we currently have at Parkview.
It's a hardwired system and we're having dead zones in it? Is that what I'm
No.
hearing?
Currently we have a hardwired system.
Yes.
We want to replace it with a hardwired system. We are opting not to go with a wireless system because of dead zones.
Yeah, that was my next question, if it was a hardwired system. So obviously a hardwired system has a software program that runs it.
Correct.
And that's where the concern is. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Turner.
I have a couple questions. One, who was the original vendor who installed the system in 2008?
The original manufacturer was Duquesne. And the vendor was CEC. The original manufacturer was Duquesne. The installer was A&N, who was later bought out by CEC.
Okay, and then what happened to Duquesne?
They were bought out by GE.
And so then GE decided to make the system obsolete once they bought the system, once they bought the company.
That's correct.
Is GE offering any kind of a break? Okay, well, number one, let me answer the first question. Who is the manufacturer of the new system that we're spending the money on is General Electric, right?
We have not decided who we would be going with for the new system, as we haven't put that out for bid.
Okay. Has anyone talked to GE and said, you know, you're the ones that bought this company, you're the ones that's making it obsolete, you're going to help us out here?
We have talked to GE as far as what their options are, as well as about a handful of others. So that's how we came up with the estimate of $262,000.
But no one has talked to GE about...
Yes, we have talked to GE.
Giving us a break because they're obsoleting the system.
They have not indicated that.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No expert here, but I have heard of and actually participated in a few discussions in another life of this sort. And in some of those cases, we were able to find that third-party vendors would take over the maintenance of systems that the original vendors would not go along with. I don't know if that's been investigated here, and I don't know if it's practical here, but I do believe that every time we have a situation like this, we should make an effort to see if there are third-party vendors who will maintain the systems when the original supplier decides not to.
Any comment?
Yep, we have done that. That's actually how we've kept the system in operation for the last 3 years. So we've sought out other third-party vendors for replacement parts.
I'm thinking of the future.
Supervisor Widener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two items. Number one, we talked about the dead points with the wireless systems, and one of the problems we run into in the programs I put together for using a system for hearing enhancement, which I have actually tried to use someone. Dead zones become a real big problem, so I would recommend highly that highly that we retain the hired wireless system. The second point I'd like to make, which I think is really important, is we're sitting here talking about people. And these are people that are very, very fragile. And we're worked hard on trying to keep people in their homes, so people end up in a nursing home are people that really need to be watched. And we're trying to sit here and try to come up with a cheap way of solving this problem. We aren't thinking about the people at all. And I think we really, really need to think about what are we doing for the people at Parkview. And if we sit back and save a couple bucks and we have a person gets hurt, then shame on all of us. Thank you.
Supervisor Schellinger.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Is there any resale value to the system that we have?
It'd be minimal, depending on how many operators are using it currently.
Thank you.
Supervisor Finch.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I'm not looking for something cheap. However, if we have a company that's not going to help us, I will hope that this county board does not go back to that same company for any type of purchase. I mean, you know, it's a two-way street. This piece of equipment's only 6 years old, and it's going to cost us another huge amount of money to replace it. And if we have to do it, we have to do it. But I do not want to go to the same company that won't help us. And they can give us all the songs and dances they want. But as far as I'm concerned, they can go elsewhere for other clientele. Thank you.
Supervisor Wingren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish to echo what Supervisor Widener so brilliantly pointed out. We're talking about the frail elderly. Now, I'm elderly, and in many ways, I'm frail. I have trouble with my remote control on my darn TV set, yet alone trying to futz around for an alternative, cheap piece of equipment. One thing I think that, I hate to say this publicly, but I think I'm correct in stating that if the system goes out and it takes a while to fix it, I wonder if any of you are aware of what the alternative is. It's given the people a bell, ringing a darn bell. That is just an insult to the people that we are entrusted to care for. They are frail. They are elderly. I think that, you know, we need to compliment Mike Elder, who behind the scenes has jury-rigged this system, and I think even found some parts on eBay. That's not how to take care of the frail elderly under our care. Let's do it right.
Supervisor Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I wholeheartedly agree with my colleague Supervisor Wingren and my colleague next to me here, Mr. Widener. Every time we have a resolution that relates to technology, there's always comments about the cost and the lifespan. To say that this system that they're using is 6 years old isn't really true, because when they put the building in place, they bought a system that already existed. So they've been using it for 6 years. That doesn't necessarily mean it's 6 years old. I don't ever want to see us skimp on anything relating to technology, particularly with Parkview. And we need to go with the person or the company that has the best systems to meet our needs, whether it's GE or not. You don't play tit for tat. You work with people on a business basis to try to resolve your issues. And so I wholeheartedly support this, and I think that when a question is asked, how long is the system going to last, nobody knows. It's technology. I mean, they plan things to be obsolete, so you have to replace it. They're always putting new technical advances into these systems. And so you can't say it's going to last 3 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. You hope to have the longest lifespan you can out of the equipment, and you make a wise decision, and you have a good vendor who's going to support you, and you work with them. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Supervisor Haig.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. In regards to the payment method of this project, the money is coming from Parkview Health Center's fund balance. I just ask, what is the total of Parkview Health Center's fund balance, and how did we accumulate that money, or where does Parkview Health Center's fund balance derive from? Thank you.
I would defer to finance on that.
Raise your hand if you have an answer. Yes.
I'm not exactly sure what the fund balance exactly is, but it was close to, the total fund balance was close to $10 million at the end of 2013. It's been accumulated due to cost savings. That's total fund balance. So part of that is also involved in the cost of the building.
So is it safe to say, and I hate to assume, that's why I asked the question, but you see these projects that we do the same thing as we're doing here, where we appropriate money, the money doesn't get spent, so the excess money rolls into the fund balance. There's been a number of very expensive projects at Parkview recently, and I guess that's where what I'm alluding to is how much of that money is money that didn't get spent on the projects that's been rolled into Parkview's fund balance. You say the total right now is about $10 million that's just in the Parkview fund balance.
That's right.
Thank you.
Supervisor Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I just want to make one comment regarding the purchase of nurse call system companies, where GE did purchase that company in 2006. I'm seeing an article from Bloomberg that indicates a company called Ascom purchased GE's system in 2012. And that company, Ascom, appears to be a Swedish firm, and they have their own healthcare nurse call system as well. So I just want to point out that this is a volatile market where companies and corporations purchase each other left and right in the interest of making more money, and so we can probably expect to see more of that. Thank you.
Supervisor Turner.
I just wanted to that I didn't allude to the fact that we're trying to cheap out on the system. You know, I don't. That's not what I was alluding to. Supervisor Hardy. So you're saying that GE bought Duquesne in 2006? Well, then, if we bought the system in 2008, how could we have bought it from Duquesne?
Sometimes companies retain the original company they bought to use their name. It's a possibility, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, and I would like to go with a reputable firm. You know, somebody that, I mean, obviously in 2008 when they bought the system, they thought it was going to be a lot longer lasting than the 6 years it's lasted. But, I mean, I'm sure everybody in this room prior to tonight had heard of GE, but had never heard of Duquesne. So, you know, if we can go with a reputable firm that's going to be around a while, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Thank you.
We will vote using our electronic device. That resolution passes. Next is resolution number 63-72014, approve amendments to the Town of Winchester zoning ordinance. I'm sorry, Supervisor Gabert, did you have something on the previous? Supervisor Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I move for the approval of resolution number 63-72014.
Supervisor Kreischner.
Yes, I'm the town chairman for the town of Winchester, and we amended some of the text in our zoning ordinance. Some of it's not difficult, but there's a lot to read. If we have some technical questions or professional questions, our zoning administrator, Mr. Kerry Rose here, and perhaps can steer the ship through the wavy waters for us if you have some. I know most people here don't have to deal with zoning, but there's quite a bit going on. So, in our zoning, Winchester's fairly new yet, and I'm sure we'll be back with some more changes. So, thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 64-72014, approve Industrial Development Board loan in the amount of $475,000 to the Village of Winnebago. Supervisor Hamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I would move for resolution number 64-7/2014.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 65-72014, authorize payment of excess committee days, April 1st, 2013 through March 31st, 2014. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you. I move for approval of resolution number 65-7/2014.
Supervisor Hegg.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. In regards to this, I believe the financial note that I saw was that this amount is budgeted, that this is actually in the 2014 budget as a county board of supervisors budget item. I did not have an opportunity to look and see what that total figure is. Do we know what was budgeted in the 2014 budget for excess days?
I don't have that figure with me, but I can get that for you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Just a comment. I have seen many of these over the years, and I've always strived to try to suggest that we should provide equal committee assignments to our members of our county board. Obviously, it's still not quite there yet. I mean, I see several of them on here, Mr. Hardy, Mr. Miller, Mr. Tews, Mr. Youngquist, with minimal assignments, and perhaps they want that. I'm not judging that for sure, but my comment is I think we're getting better, and we are improving. Certainly I'll support this, but years ago it used to be a lot worse, so just my thoughts.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Oh. We will vote using our electronic device. Supervisor Smith. Thank you. That resolution passes. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I'll move that we adjourn until Tuesday, August 19th at 6 p.m.
We are adjourned.